Hi, welcome to Astrobabble. I'm Donna from DonnaBacm Astrology.
And I'm Linda from Scullywag Astrology.
Welcome back, Linda. And today we are going to be talking about the new moon in Taurus, and that's going to be happening at 18 degrees, 2 minutes. And I'll talk about the moon mansion is the fourth moon mansion. It's a Zerial. The identifying star, according to Christopher Warnock's book, The Moon Mansions, is Aldebaran, and the moon mansion is called the Follower. It has the flavor of Mars, and the S, or what it is representative of, is primal material, discord, enmity, chaotic substance, ill will, and hindrance. It brings about arguments, anger, and contest of wills, as well as a lawsuit. And it can indicate strength, as far as if you are, and it's asking you to seize the day, and it's asking you to or it's letting us know that there is strength if you are working on the right side,
Nice.
whatever that is, of whatever the universe wants. Apparently that's how that means, is if you are uh, in right relationship with the universe, it is, you will benefit from the strength that you will be able to muster up. So
And
I'm
what
reading
did you
that.
say it was the flavor of Mars and
It was the flavor of Mars, just plain old
just
Mars,
Mars?
Aldebaran. Yep.
Aldebaran.
Aldebaran is the indicator star.
Is that one of the royal stars?
Indicator stars are actually for the directional. That's why they were originally the indicator stars.
Ah,
Oh, Aldebaran, Regulus, Antares, and Fomalhaut.
so it is one of the royal stars,
Yes.
the royal star of Taurus. So we have Venus, ruler of this new moon, also in Taurus, where it's in domicile, a sign that it rules with the new moon. So that's helpful. It is only 8 degrees away from this new moon, so it is combust, but it is in its own sign. So it should be what we say in its own chariot, so it's kind of protected, but it is hidden at this time. It's so close to the sun that it can't be seen. Also have the moon and sun going to come up and conjoin Uranus, sudden, unexpected, shocking, and Jupiter, which is usually optimistic and enthusiastic, but it's also expansive. So Mars, which,
Happy to,
sorry, go on.
I was going to say, happy to see it leaving Taurus.
Mars, which is associated with this moon mansion, as Donna was saying, is in Aries at the moment. So it's quite strong, but it's in aversion to this new moon. So it's like they're in each other's blind spot. They kind of can't see each other. So, and then Saturn closely sextiling, being sextiled by the sun and the moon. They have just passed that sextile to it. So interesting. A lot of planets in Taurus at the moment. Quite a few in, well, 2 in Aries, but we also have Chiron and the North Node. 2 in Pisces, and then Pluto in Aquarius by itself.
All those planets are quite squinched up.
Could be a bumpy ride.
A lot of conjunctions. It's nice to see that Venus is in her own sign, though. That is definitely a positive thing, should be coming to fruition with, you've got Jupiter and Venus in Taurus. So
Yeah.
those are the two benefics in that one sign. So wherever Taurus is in your chart, you should be feeling some sort of benefit
Well, shall we have
and
a
new
look at the
beginnings.
horoscopes?
That would be wonderful.
And we recommend that you listen to or read your ascendant sign horoscope. It just makes more sense and it's more accurate for you if you do that. If you don't understand why, Donna and I have done a video about that, and I'll put a link to that in the description.
Very nice. And if you are a Taurus rising, this new moon is going to be happening in your first house. And the first house is the house where you do things that are just for yourself, whether it's getting a new hairstyle, um, starting an exercise program, a new eating program, changing painting your bedroom a new color, anything that you can do that's just for yourself, even anything that you would be starting if you were starting to paint, or but it's the kind of work that you're doing just on yourself. And you've got the two benefics there, which is kind of really, really nice. And the nice thing that you have also there is Uranus there, which is the shocking or leveling up. So that is the other kind of energy that Uranus brings to it, is that leveling up kind of energy. So this will all be in your house that's rising. This is your mask that you're showing the world. So it'll have some benefit. It might have some shocking things, or looking at things in a different way, or you might want to change something about yourself that is something that would be totally different from what you would normally do. Like whenever you get your hair cut, you always get it cut to your shoulders. This, you might decide to have it dyed as well, or colored in a different way. So because it's gonna the Uranus in there is just asking you to do something about yourself or to yourself in a different way. So this is going to be a way to change it up. And with the benefic planets that are in there in that house as well, it's a really nice kind of a transit
Very
if you are a
nice.
Taurus rising.
And if you are an Aries ascendant, this new moon is happening in your second house. The second house is the house of our income, our possessions, and our resources. So, as Donna mentioned earlier, there's two benefics there. You've got Venus and Jupiter, and Venus is the ruler of this new moon. So, you may benefit in some way through income streams, or it could be a resource. It could be, a bonus at work. It could be a really nice gift, particularly something useful to you. There is Uranus in there, so maybe something a little bit shocking. Yeah, you do have Jupiter there, so Jupiter does like to go big. So if you do come into like a little bit of extra money, maybe it may flow out quite quickly, or maybe for some, hopefully, that will be a sign that it's a bigger bonus or benefit than you expected, perhaps. You do have Mars in your first house. It does rule your ascendant, and but Mars is in Aries, so it's in a sign that it rules. It's comfortable there, but you may come across as very active, could come across as a little bit abrasive too. Just maybe something to be aware of. Also, we have Mercury and Chiron. We don't often focus on Chiron a lot, but it is the wounded healer. Mercury in Aries can be a little bit hot-headed and kind of speak before thinking sometimes. May be aware too that you may say something that you regret. So maybe, if possible, kind of stop and count to 10 before you say something that might be hurtful.
Always good to keep that in check.
Yeah.
And if you are a Pisces rising, this new moon is going to be happening in your third house. And, as Linda and I have talked about before, new moons are about beginnings and new seeds. And this could be new things that are happening around your community, as well as your brothers and sisters. It could even extend into your aunts and uncles. This is your extended family and your community. This could be also short courses, which Linda has said before. Um, I like that about that. But this is the early education as well as your community. So things will be starting in those types of areas if you're a Pisces rising.
And if you are an Aquarius rising, this new moon will be in your fourth house. The fourth house has to do with home and family. It's our living situation. It's our parents in particular. It's our heritage. It's our most private, and it's kind of one of the darker houses in that if the ascendant is where the sun is at dawn, and the descendant opposite is where it's at dusk, and the MC, round about midday when it's, highest in the sky. Well, the sun is at the IC, in the middle of the night when it's dark. So it's a very private house too. You do have the two benefics there. You have Jupiter, which is often associated with good luck. It's not long had its conjunction with Uranus, so sudden surprising events. And Venus. Venus is the ruler of this new moon. So you may find that this isn't necessarily something to do with you. It may have something more to do with your parents. But it could be, good luck or just harmony and good things, just good times with family or your home or the people that you live with. It's hopefully quite harmonious. Donna did mention with the moon mansion that this could be a little bit contentious, and it is ruled by Mars, which is in your third house of siblings and kind of extended family like aunts, uncles, nieces, neighbors and that. So look, home looks good. Immediate family looks good. Maybe, there could be some crossed words perhaps with siblings or others like that. Maybe just be aware of how you talk to people in your general day-to-day life, in that those you see in the local neighborhood, your neighbors and, siblings, extended family, because we do have Mercury conjunct Chiron there. But yeah, apart from that, not too bad. Do have Saturn in the second, so finances might be a little bit tricky, but yeah, that new moon has just come off a sextile to that Saturn. So maybe that will be, particularly for our day chart people, setting a new
Foundation, structure.
patience, kind of dedication to knuckling down with money, perhaps. And maybe this new moon is indicative of improving something at home, or maybe even making your home more comfortable because you plan on not going out as much. Maybe over the next couple of weeks in particular, you may be more focused on home and family.
And if you are a Capricorn rising, this new moon is going to be happening in your fifth house. And the fifth house is the house of creativity. It's the house of your children as well. Something new might be coming around things that you create. If you are, this is also your hobbies, and you might be starting a new hobby as well, or for the first time, you might have, gone and gotten tickets to a concert, because the concerts and things that you do for fun are also represented by this house. And this will be new things around that house if you are a Capricorn rising.
And if you are a Sagittarius rising, this new moon will be in your sixth house. The sixth house is to do with illness, but also pets and service to others. It's employees. That can include those that work for you, whether that's, you're an employer and you have employees, or it could be that you have a supervisory role over somebody, or it could be something as simple as a tradesperson doing something for you around the house. Or I wonder if I think mechanics would be more third house, but you never know if a mechanic's working on your car. But yeah, new moon. So there is Uranus in there, and the moon and the sun are soon going to come up and conjoin or be conjunct, appear to be right close to that Uranus, which can be sudden and shocking. So particularly in if you have niggling health concerns, I would certainly chase that up. Same with pets. Pets may be a little bit erratic, perhaps, or maybe you go for an exotic pet. Maybe you come out with I don't know, a snake, or you go to to go buy a kitten or something. You come home with a turtle or something. I don't know. Something a little bit different. We do have Jupiter there and Venus. So you do have the two benefics there. That's nice. That can be helpful for, Donna often refers to them when they're together as quite helpful for healing. Venus is moving pretty fast. Venus and Mercury are both coming up to meet up with the sun. So they're both getting faster. But yes, it could be new beginnings to do with health, pets, or service to others. Maybe, this includes people like doctors, fire people, first responders, nurses. Maybe you've been accepted into a course, or maybe you're doing a course, or you've been accepted into the academy, starting in some way, some new beginning, or planting seeds. Maybe you want to work in the field like that, and you're taking the first steps towards that, whether that's actually applying or being accepted, or it could be a new employee or something similar.
Very nice. And if you are a Scorpio rising, this new moon is going to be happening in your seventh house. And the seventh house is the house of the one other person, the house of the people that you have a committed relationship, whether it's a partner, a spouse, or a significant other. It could as well be a doctor, or even a hairdresser, but somebody who you have, like, you write it down in your calendar. I need to see so and so. So that is a committed relationship. That is, if you have to write it down in your calendar, it means it's you're committing yourself to something. And this is the new beginnings that are going to be happening around those types of relationships. So if you need to go see a doctor, if you're a Scorpio rising, make the appointment, and you'll be able to get in to see a doctor. Those are the things that you would be starting. So it would be things really that you're starting with the committed relationships in your life. So get out your calendar, fill up the rest of the second half of the year. It's right about that time.
And if you're a Libra ascendant, this new moon is in your 8th house. The 8th house has to do with mortality. It includes things like wills and inheritances, but it's also shared finances and resources. That can include things like going into partnership with somebody. It's also the partner or close one-on-one relationships money. This may have nothing to do with you. This could have something to do with your partner. It could be going into some sort of partnership with somebody, whether that's a business or a romantic partner. It could be applying for a loan, because it's also incorporates things like banks, taxation, insurance. So yeah, there is two benefics there, Jupiter and Venus. Excuse me, and Venus rules this new moon. So yeah, it could be that this joint venture is more profitable than you first imagined, or that if you've applied for a loan from the bank, perhaps you're approved for more than you expected. We do have that Uranus there as well, which is unexpected and sudden and perhaps a bit shocking, and Jupiter, which is all about expansion. It's or maybe there's a bigger tax refund than you expected at this time.
Very nice. And if you are a Virgo rising, this is going to be happening. This new moon is going to be happening in your 9th house. And the 9th house has a lot to do with higher education, as well as maybe publishing or the law. So if you are writing a book, this might be a time where you're looking for a publisher. It also has to do with foreigners, is the people that you're not familiar with, or a foreign place that you're not familiar with. So this could be, having anything to do with, people of another country, or something might be in your life that is foreign to you. So this is, you know, that house where it's higher education, it's that expansive, it's philosophy, astrology. These are new things that these are the themes that could be new starting in your life if you're a Virgo rising. This is the house where those things and those types of issues come up, whether it's publishing, the law, foreigners, higher education, the occults, philosophy, those types of things. You'll be starting new things with those. It's a big house.
Yes. And if you are a Leo ascendant, this new moon is happening in your 10th house. So the 10th house has to do with our career and public reputation. It's the house of what you're known for. So if you don't work, you may be known for whatever. You know, when people introduce you to a friend, do they say, hi, this is such and such. You know, they're into astrology. They love tarot. You know, he's into model railways, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, how people describe you sort of thing, what you're known for. So yes, new moons are about new beginnings. So this could be you're starting a new project at work, or if you have something coming up later down the track, this may be just the seeds are being planted for this new venture. Because the 10th house is a very visible house. So probably maybe in about 6 months, you'll have the full moon in Taurus, and that will shine a light on that house. You've got benefics there. You've got Venus, the ruler of this new moon, and Jupiter there, which does tend to expand, and Uranus, which is kind of unexpected and can be a little bit shocking and that. So particularly, you know, you're starting a new project or setting off on a new adventure in some way. It may be bigger and kind of veer off a little bit to a different direction than what you first expected. Something to look forward to, and yeah, it will be very interesting.
And if you are a Cancer rising, this new moon is going to be happening in your 11th house. And the 11th house can be represented by your friends. It also is your groups and associations, as well as your hopes and dreams. So with the new moon and you've got the benefics in there, this is a great time to reach out to friends. This is a great time to get into uh, groups and associations. If you are interested in playing baseball while the weather is getting warmer, this would be a good time to join a team of anything of that nature. This is also a good time to, you know, whatever you're working on that you want to start planting those seeds of your hopes and dreams. This would be the time. If you are a Cancer rising, this would be a great time to start that. This is there to support your hopes and dreams, as well as your friends and associations.
And if you are a Gemini ascendant, this new moon is happening in your 12th house. The 12th house is the house of exile. It's also the house of our undoing. It can be a difficult house. It's self-defeating habits, addictions. It can be, is it hidden enemies? I think it is hidden enemies, open enemies.
It's hidden enemies.
Yeah. We do have two benefics here, though, Venus and Jupiter, and Venus does rule this new moon. Perhaps if you have been, you know, battling addictions or self-defeating habits, or what's the one you always use, Donna?
Escapism.
Escapism, yes.
Especially with that the Jupiter and Neptune they're going to be in sextile pretty
Yeah,
darn soon. So
yeah, that's
it
one
is
of the
something to
upcoming
watch.
aspects. Yeah. Yeah, this could be the beginnings of kind of like, you know what, this isn't working for me, this isn't helpful, this isn't necessarily good for me. Yeah, it could also be literal exile. And, you know, once upon a time, being far from home could be quite a dangerous thing. These days, maybe not necessarily so bad. This can be, and when we say exile, we don't necessarily mean, I don't think, to necessarily another country. I mean, we've spoken in the past about, like, you know, those people that are a first responder, or, you know, sometimes, you know, having to go away to an academy to, you know, learn And yeah, it also includes places like jails and hospitals, places of rest and retreat, but also of confinement. This can be locking yourself away, working behind the scenes. It's hidden and secret. It's yeah, as we said, it can be hidden enemies, but look, with Venus and Jupiter there, I would think you're fine. But yeah, this could be a good time to work behind the scenes. Venus herself is combusts the sun. She's certainly not visible at this time. So the fifth house is also ruled by Venus for Gemini ascendants. Yeah, this could be a good time to work on some creative project behind the scenes, perhaps. Or, you know, this could be something new to do with a hospital, a prison, monastery, a retreat, something similar. And do you have a stone for us, Donna?
I do. I do. It's a great Taurus stone. It is called Prasiolite. It's typically green. It's actually leek green. If you know what leeks are, they're like an onion. It's a leek green color. And there's another one. And it's a relationship to amethyst. So that's why we have that chevron. This is the chevron type of Prasiolite. And it even is clear. That is also Prasiolite. So that's what Prasiolite does. It's a trigonal system. It is a from like the quartz, it's got like a Mohs hardness of 7. And Linda, you have been getting me or trying to get me. You have asked, what does one of the cut stones look like? And this is the stone as it looks like cut and fasted. This is Prasiolite as well. Ooh, that's like all kinds of colors in it. That is Prasiolite as well. Because I usually work with just the raw rough stones. And when I saw this, because a lot of times you ask me, you're like, well, what does it look like if it's faceted? This is a faceted, gosh, it's got a lot of colors. Anyways, the faceted of this particular stone is stronger on what it does is it brings divine will down to the material, which makes it a very good Taurus stone, because it's trying to get whatever is up there, down in, and get it to the material world. And it works getting that third eye. So the chakras that it works with is the heart, the third eye, the crown chakra as well. Yeah, and I know you have been asking me to um start a channel, which I have, um, to work with the energy and do a lot of and talk more about the energy work that I do. And this is one of the stones that helped me bring that into fruition. So yeah, I actually saw it work. And it's called Prasiolite, and it's a green amethyst is basically what it is. So it's a trigonal system. It's got the same Mohs hardness as like an amethyst, so it's great for jewelry. And as you can see, it's got wonderful facets. It really has a good brilliance when it's faceted, and that is Prasiolite. And I will write an article about it for sure. You're on mute.
Fantastic. And we'll put a link to your new YouTube channel in the description. But if you're watching us on the YouTube channel, the Astrobabble one, if you go right down the bottom, you'll see that Donna's channel is one of our favorite channels. So certainly go ahead and what's the word? Subscribe. Yes, that would be great.
Please, thank you. Yeah, YouTube won't let me put in clickable links for a couple of months.
Ah,
But once I get a library going, I'll be able to put links in there myself as well. So
mhm.
and I'll link it to back and forth.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Talk about stones earlier. So the first aspect that we are going to be talking about is the sun will conjunct Uranus. And when the sun and a planet come together, we call that cazimi. And when these two planets, or the sun and Uranus, come together, it's when Uranus is in the heart of the sun, and it's called the having the king's ear. That is with the traditional planets. I'm not so sure about the outer planets, but this is when you can't see Uranus in the sky at all. This is good for um starting like things that are unusual. This could also give you some rebellious streaks in your planning, or whatever you're trying to do. And this could also indicate little upsets in your day. So this is a day where it's not gonna be very beneficial. It's a day where, what could you use? This would be a good day to brainstorm. This would be a good day to not do a whole lot of planning, because things in your day could definitely get interrupted.
Yeah. Sun conjunct Uranus, sudden, unexpected, surprising. The sun is often related to our cells. It's also our health and vitality. So you may just feel a little bit off as well. Could be a little bit jittery for some. But yeah, good time to do something a little bit different, or you may find it kind of thrust upon you, and that could be something as simple as, you go to the grocery store and, they've changed it around, and, cereal's usually in aisle 5 and now you have no idea where it is, and it's annoying. They've done that to me every so often. You go to a store for years and years and years, and then they do a revamp and it's like, I can't find anything, and it's so frustrating. And yeah, we do have Jupiter still pretty close to that Sun Uranus conjunction, which can amplify. So, yeah, it may be just a day of sudden surprising things. As Donna said, for some, it could be a little bit not really dealing well with authority or somebody trying to lay down the law to you. It can be a very rebellious type energy. But, we've got Venus coming up the other side of that Sun Uranus as well. It is kind of cocooned between the two benefics. So that should be helpful. Maybe just sudden, surprising, hopefully serendipitous things for a lot of people.
Very cool. It should be very interesting, especially with Uranus in there.
Well, what's interesting too is, like, we have the new moon on the 7th of May for those in the US. This is the first kind of aspect, not including the moon aspects, is on the 13th of May. So, we're talking 7 days later. No, 6 days later, sorry. 6 days later. So there's kind of like a lot of kind of stillness between planetary aspects of that new moon.
This
Makes
will
me
be the
think of
first
that.
shakeup.
Makes me think of that song by Bjork. It's all so quiet, and then bam.
Yeah, because there were like no planetary aspects for 6 whole days. It's like, oh, there's nothing.
Yeah,
And not even a lot of lunar things going on. But once it all starts get going, it's
yeah,
really going. The next aspect is going to be Venus will sextile Saturn, and this is going to happen on the same day. So, it's all these planets, when they're all bunched together, once they start moving, they like all like either get on top of each other or sextile each other, or, all those kinds of aspects are all going to be happening, a lot. And when Venus sextile Saturn, it's a good harmonious type of aspect. This is also, it screams of obligation. Venus sextile Saturn, you're talking about love and you're talking about foundation. And you can't have good foundational love without having some structure and some, commitment back and forth. So that's one of the ways of Venus when Venus sextile Saturn. That's how it may show up.
Yeah.
It could also show up as, I don't really want to go to, an event. It is a family thing, so I'm doing it anyways. I'd rather do this. So this might give you some pull, but it's a harmonious aspect. It should all work out fine.
Yeah. It's duty, obligation, but there's that security and dependability and, the ties that bind sort of thing, but not in a bad way. And this is maintaining relationships and taking care of relationships, and not just romantic relationships, family, friends, etc. I see that later on that Venus is going to move up and conjoin Uranus. So she's going to have her fun a bit later. So she's making sure everything's kind of taken care of beforehand, perhaps. And, she is under the beams of the sun and combust at this time. So kind of taking care of matters behind the scenes. But look, I usually like the sextile and the trine of Saturn, Venus. Saturn can be softened a little bit by Venus. Venus is quite strong. She's in Taurus, the sign that she rules. And Saturn is in the sign of Venus's exaltation. So
Yeah, I was just looking at what bound she's in. She's in Jupiter's bound, so she's in a benefic bound.
yeah. The moon, before this aspect becomes exact, the moon will have opposed Pluto, which, it does that every 28 days or so. But, maybe there's a little bit of tenseness or intensity and a bit of drama. Maybe, sometimes when things are all topsy-turvy, that's when you really do appreciate those relationships that are solid and stable and reliable.
And that's on the 13th. So on the 15th of May, the next aspect will be Mercury enters Taurus. And this is a really nice. This is going to be a less fiery Mercury. When Mercury's in Aries, it's a little impatient kind of speech, or it could be very fast speech. This is going to be the slow and steady speech. This is going to be the same, what you've been hearing in your ear for the last 5 years. This is this is that it's the same kinds of things. It's very slow kind of talking. It's that fixed type of energy. Mercury is how we communicate. So we're going to be talking about, that's, taking the pace down a little bit, slow it up, make sure that we're covering all the ground. I think that's going to be more of that type of a Mercury. And it's going to be with the two benefics, so it should all work out great.
yeah, it's that Mercury in Aries can be a little bit abrasive. This is a softer, slower, more, what's the word? Probably a little bit more considerate, but also maybe a little bit more conservative too. When I think of like Mercury, thinking communications, ideas, even movement, it's a slower, more languid moving sign. May not be great on grabbing that idea straight away. Like it's not the quick aha moment, but it's solid and reliable. And once it's learned, something's learned, it's there, and it's well learned. It's not just hunch or an instinct. It's knowing. And yeah, coming up towards that Venus will be nice too. But yes, first we're going to have the square with Pluto, so that will be interesting. Speaking of which,
Just for a little excitement, Mercury squaring Pluto. This is going to be happening on May 17th. So that's Friday. This is going to be an indication of changing the way you think. Pluto is that planet of transformation. Mercury is how we talk about it. This could also be different ways of commerce or how we do business. This is how we're going to change things up. This is in Mercury sitting there in Taurus. That's the material world. You can't get materialistic. then Taurus. And when I say that, I'm talking about the tangible things that we have in our life. It's not the ethereal Pisces type things. It's the things that we can actually hold on, pick up, move, put down in another spot. These are the material things. But with the square, you have to always watch out for power struggles, and then when you have the Mercury squaring Pluto, I call this like ferret thinking. If you ever have been around a ferret, and when they get focused on a certain thing, there is nothing that will stop them from digging in that one spot. If that's what you have to put like a cinder block on top of it, because otherwise it's just that focused digging that that ferrets do. So I call this the ferret type of aspect. It's that focus, and you can leave the whole world could like disappear, and you're concentrating on one aspect. Like what would you really concentrate, like if you're like, okay, if you're drawing or painting or something like that, and you're just concentrating on this one particular thing, and it's if you're like drawing a volcano, let's just say, and it's just not right, and you're constantly erasing it and fixing it and erasing it and fixing it and erasing it and fixing it all day long. This is that kind of ferret thinking where you're just so focused and the whole world like leaves you. It's that. And that's one of the dangers, is if you're just focused on that one thing, you're excluding everything behind you. So, try to keep those things in mind on May 17th, because it's that ferret thinking that you could end up having. That went run on.
Yeah.
That was long.
It will be very interesting to see what's happening in people's house of Taurus, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets in Taurus at this time. We do have Mercury in Taurus at this time, and it's squaring, which is conflict and tension, that Pluto, which is intensity and transformation. So this could be transformative thinking that actually makes you do something. I'm just looking at that sun, which often represents ourselves as well as our intelligence, the divine spark sort of thing. And it's sandwiched between Uranus, sudden, shocking, surprising, revolutionary, and Jupiter, which is benefic but can also be expansive. So it's an interesting day, I think. Obsessional thinking, perhaps, as Donna was talking about with the ferret brain. I like that analogy. We don't have ferrets down here, but they look very cute. Yeah, and I noticed too that the moon will be in Virgo, coming up to oppose Saturn at the time. This could bring some sadness with it, I think, because, moon opposite Saturn can be, and thankfully the moon moves quickly. So, it's not going to be drag on for days or anything, but there could be frustration and just feeling it would be very easy to wallow at this time, I think. Yes, but obsessional thinking, transformative thinking, in some cases, somebody trying to make you, what's the word, conform to their thinking, perhaps. But I mean, we're talking fixed signs here, Taurus and Aquarius. They don't change easily. So, but, Mercury itself is moving pretty quickly, 132% of its normal speed at this time. It's getting ready to come up and join up with the sun again. Same with Venus.
And the next aspect we're going to be talking is going to happen the following day on Saturday, May 18th. And this is going to be Venus will conjunct Uranus. This can be very surprising if you're in a love relationship. This could be, something that is new and shocking to it. It could also be, you're looking for something that is new and shocking into your love life. If that's what you're looking for, this is a good time to change up a relationship. If you've always done working on a car, for example, with your signature, I don't know if that's what we used to do in the 70s. Anyway, but you might want to go to a quilting show for a date night. This is just mixing it up. This is a good time to mix it up, or something new or different could enter into your relationship.
Surprises in relationships And, you know, doing things differently can certainly help with this. You may find yourself more attracted to people that are not your usual type as well, or art or leisure activities that don't normally appeal. Maybe you're not one for meditating or having a nice soak in the bath or something, but this is something that you're drawn to at this time. Or yeah, we've also got Sun conjunct Jupiter at this time, which wants to go big. So I don't think it's, yeah, this could be a little bit disruptive for some relationships, in that we want excitement and fun and, you know, the new, and, you know, Jupiter wants to go big too. So, and this is just off of that Mercury square Pluto, which was all that transformative thinking. Maybe we've come to a decision that, you know, life is a little bit too staid and boring, and mix things up a little bit. But, you
I
know,
was just looking at this. The moon is opposite Neptune, and you have that Jupiter and Pluto. I mean, if you're going to do the moon is in a Venusian sign, so an art project you could really do a project, like if you've always painted on canvas, you might paint on glass or ceramic, you know, today. This would be a good time to mix it up, just to change it a little bit.
yeah.
So look for, and well, you know, we're supposed to have those innovative, you know, ideas in our brain with this Pluto changing signs into Aquarius. So this might be the beginnings of, you know, a new idea.
Could be, yes. Or a new way of thinking.
Yeah, I like that. And the next aspect will be Sun will conjunct Jupiter on May 18th. So this is going to be on Saturday as well. And, you know, when the Sun conjuncts Jupiter, or when the Sun conjuncts any planet, or a planet conjuncts the Sun, depending on who's moving faster, this is a time where it's in the heart of the Sun. It's Kazemi. It's where you have those breakthroughs, that time where you have the king's ear, as Linda always says about when a planet gets in the heart of the Sun. It's the time when a new cycle, it gets new plans. The Sun and the planet are kind of talking about, like, what's planned for the following year or the next year. That's kind of what this is indicating.
But yeah, usually enthusiastic, optimistic, generous. Jupiter is associated with a lot of really good things, wisdom, law. So yes, usually quite an optimistic time. We do have that Venus, Uranus, Cazimi happening. Well, not Cazimi, Venus, Uranus conjunction happening earlier in the day. So we're looking for a bit of excitement, and, you know, Jupiter likes to go big. So could be a fun day, could be an eventful day. Just be aware that Jupiter can go way over the top sometimes. So enjoy, keep your feet on the ground a little bit, perhaps.
This is the beginning of a synodic cycle. The inner planets do that back and forth thing. The outer planets don't. And the next aspect, here we go. The Sun sextiles Neptune. This would be, you know, one of those things. It would the Sun sextiling Neptune. This is an opportunity. This is when your sensitivities are going to be up. Watch the people who you are around. This is also a good time to be, because your sensitivities are up, you are more understanding of the people around you. This would be a good day for, like, charity work.
Yeah, speaking of actually putting those good intentions into action, I see that Mars is conjunct the North Node at that time. Mars in Aries, so it's strong, North Node, so taking some sort of action. And even though Aries is between Neptune in Pisces and the Sun in Taurus, it's in inversion, so I can't see it, but it would be good to give that Mars something to do too.
I like it.
Yeah, Sun sextile Neptune, great for creativity, intuitive hunches, great for just relaxing. We're talking, I think, one of the previous ones, something about Venus conjunct Uranus, you know, like having a bath, like slowing down and relaxing rather than, rushing around perhaps, this would be a great day to, meditate, do something relaxing, self-care or care for others, because that Neptune can be very altruistic and very idealistic too. So yeah, good call on putting it to work too, perhaps with that Mars.
I like that a lot. And then the next aspect we're going to be talking about is going to happen on Monday, May 20th, and that's going to when the sun enters Gemini. And this is going to bring in a new Gemini season. So happy birthdays to the Geminis. This when the sun changes signs, it brings it when any of the planets change signs, it's a good day to journal. This is going to give a lot more chit chat and chatter when the sun when the planets go into Gemini, when they left Taurus. Taurus is that slow and steady type of energy, where Gemini is more social, is wants to get things hopping, is faster. It's the sign of it's an air sign, so it's a little bit more faster, and it just kind of goes a little bit more faster. So expect more communication for sure.
Yeah, wherever Gemini is in your chart, there'll be a new focus over the next month, because wherever the sun is in our chart tends to shine a special focus for that month while the sun's there. Also kind of, it's breaking away from all those Taurus planets. The others will soon follow, but yeah, because the planets are all so close together, you may really notice a shift in energy, because, it's all been Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus. Now here's some Gemini. Here's a little bit more. Gemini's air sign ruled by Mercury. So we're thinking, communicating, and it's a young energy. It's playful, it can be mischievous, can be flirty, can be fun. So
Definitely higher energy. Then the next aspect will be when the sun trines Pluto. And, that's transformative. We're highlighting what you need to change. This is, Pluto's that planet of change and transformation. The sun just says, this is what we need to focus on. And with this aspect, I think that you're going to have whether ideas that are changing, you would expect that it would be ideas that are changing when the planet is in Aquarius. So I'm looking kind of forward to this. It's going to be intense, but I think it's an intensity that might create that focus and that change that you need.
I think hopefully with the trine, for a lot of people, this will kind of make people feel a little bit more in control, a little bit more powerful within themselves, perhaps. And doesn't mean that you're going to, be suddenly the ruler of the world or anything, but maybe you just manage to get some schedule that's been all haywire under control, or you just feel a little bit more like things are under your control, a little bit more manageable.
Sounds very interesting. Then the next aspect, and this is going to be happening on Thursday, the 23rd. So this is going to be, I wait for this particular aspect. Venus will conjunct Jupiter. This is a great time to concentrate on the things that will inspire you to get healthy. This is or do anything that would be to help you with your health. This is a good time to start it. It's when these are the two benefic planets together, they're going to be in Taurus. That's the material part of the world, or is not when I say material, I'm talking about, how like our bodies are more physical, it's that physicalness of it. So this is the time where you can do those physical things that you need to get into your life to start this new shift that you're working on.
Yeah. Venus is powerful in the sign, as she's in a sign of her own that she rules. So she's in domicile. It's like she's in her own home. Yeah, we've got the two benefics together. So that's good. Interesting that it's with, I don't know if it's on the same day. I think it is the same day as the Pluto Sun trine. So we were talking about, feeling more in control. This could be a really good time. Yeah, taking control of health or whatever you want to change, perhaps. I also noticed that at the time of the exact Venus Jupiter conjunction, we have the moon opposite it in Scorpio at the very late degrees. So there could be some intensity associated with this because we've got the Pluto Sun trine, which can be transformative and often quite intense. We've got the moon in a very intense sign, just about to leave it. There could be something quite cathartic about whatever you're embarking on. You know, there could be a bittersweet quality to it, perhaps. We're very lucky that this is happening in Taurus, because if this was happening a day or two later, it might be happening, well, I don't know how quickly. It'd probably take Jupiter a while to get into Gemini, but Venus is just about to leave Taurus, where she's, you know, domicile. So it's at the very end degrees. So yeah, still kind of, she still combusts the sun. She is still in her sign though. Once she does get into Gemini, she's going to come up to that sun and have that cazimi, but she's going to lose some power, and she is hidden at the moment. So maybe there'll be benefits or good things or assistance that may not be awfully visible, because Jupiter is also under the beams of that sun. Maybe there will be good things or benefits or helpful people or assistance, but that you didn't necessarily count on or expect, because of the nature of those two planets being combust the sun at this time.
I think Venus jumps out that later that day, and then Jupiter 2 days later jumps into Gemini. So
Jupiter's moving really
she
quickly.
is
283% of its usual speed. Venus at 124.7% of its usual speed.
Well, Jupiter is like cruising. Ooh, Uranus is going 490% of its normal speed. So Uranus gets the Daytona prize.
Mind you, it
Or
usually
the Indy
moves really, really slowly, but still.
It's still got a while. Uranus is still going to be in Taurus for another 3 years, I think. So
No,
we have plenty of time to experience Taurus on the material world. And then Venus sextile Neptune, that's really good for, and it's going to happen that same day, so May 23rd. And it's really good for creative and romantic type of energy. It's artistic, dreamy. This is not a day for high activity. When Venus sextiles Neptune, you kind of like just want to, like, I don't know, grab a glass of lemonade and sit under a tree and read. That's that's what I'm picturing here with Venus sextiles Neptune. It's that energy that just lends itself to daydreaming and not high energy.
yeah, it is can be very romantic and idealistic. You know, we still have, you know, Venus is just moving away from that conjunction with Jupiter. Yeah, that can really amplify those romantic, idealized feelings. And this is coming up on the, you know, very close to the full moon in Sagittarius too, which can amplify emotions in general. Venus sextile Neptune, just very dreamy, could be very good for creativity with that Jupiter, just amplifying things and hopefully keeping things nice and benefic.
And then we'll be working on the full moon in Sagittarius. It's going to happen on that same day on Thursday. There's going to be a lot of energy that day. So you have that penciled in.
Yeah.
We know with the full moon in Sagittarius, I was looking at the connections with the moon, Pluto, Neptune, and the sun on that day. And I'm like, whoa, those are some transforming type of bringing to light that,
Yeah.
that's unusual energy for that day. A lot of, I think Pluto is definitely going to play a part in that. It's
Yeah.
sextiling the moon, and it's going to be trining the sun. So
Yeah,
it's definitely playing a part in that full moon in Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is that sign that, has that bigger picture. So maybe we'll find some ideas that will be fruitful for the bigger picture.
it's a shame that Jupiter, the ruler of this full moon, is in aversion to it.
Mm.
But it can't be helped. We do have that Pluto sextile, so hopefully that's a good transformation. But yes, interesting.
You really can't make up astrology. When things happen and these aspects are there, it's like, well, that is so cool, or I wonder what that's going to look like. It's very interesting. I absolutely love it. So, um, Linda, what have you been up to? What kind of services do you offer, and how can people get a hold of you?
I'm at Scullywag Astrology. That's astrology.scullywag.com. I'm not taking any readings for, I don't think, till about June or July. You'd have to book in advance if you need to do that. But yeah, I'm on Facebook and doing this with Donna. So yeah. And Donna, where can people find you?
Well, you can get a hold of both Linda and I on our Astrobabble page. And I have started a new YouTube channel, DonnaBacm, which stands for Advanced Crystal Master. I work with crystals, obviously, with working with these. Um, and I am open for natal readings, year ahead readings, electional, horary, medical as well. And I do energy healing with crystals right now. I am delving into other aspects which I am dying to talk about on my other channel. And it looks very interesting, and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback from it. So I'll be talking about that later, much later. But yeah, that's what and you can get a hold of me at Donna B Astrology, and I do have a Facebook page where you can get a hold of me at DonnaBacm Consulting at gmail.com, but the DonnaBacm Consulting is a Facebook page as well, if you need to get a hold of me through Facebook.
Mhm. Well, we hope this new moon is a good one for you, and we thank you for listening and for your likes and your comments and subscribing and sharing, etc. And yeah, take care.
Thank you.
Bye.